8 o'clock in the morning, and I'm awake. Not only am I awake, but I've been awake for long enough to take a shower, get in a car. I'm a solid sleep till 12 kind of gal. Maybe 11 on an early day. So I'm going with Josh to get his oil changed. But on the plus side, there's bagels and cream cheese. Bagels and coffee! 12 points on Weight Watchers. Not that bad. It's not great. Not as bad as I was thinking. It is 12:30, and we are on our way to the Scout store. Josh, fine, outstanding gentleman, is an Eagle Scout, and he volunteers with the Boy Scouts. So we're driving up there to get awards. Hey, so it is 6 o'clock, and I haven't vlogged anything all day. But to give you a quick recap of everything that happened while we were in Roanoke, I was walking the dog around the Boy Scout building, and one of the side yards of the building, they had dug up, so it wasn't grass there, it was red mud, and it got all caked into my brand new shoes. So that was a fun experience. And then I went home and cleaned the house, cleaned my shoes, and we are on our way to Josh's dad's for dinner. It's kind of been a jam-packed day, so I don't think we're gonna go to the gym tonight. I'm cool with that. Like, for me personally, I went way above and beyond yesterday because I did my run and then still went to the gym after. So I'm perfectly happy with that, and I'm more than okay with having my healthy thing for the day being just that I stayed within my points on Weight Watchers, which I'm gonna do all. So that's kind of awesome. But yeah, the vlog, not a lot going on in the vlog today. I might do story time later. It's 10 o'clock. We're leaving Josh's dad's. We had dinner. I think earlier when I estimated how many points spaghetti was going to be, it was 15. But dinner ended up being 36 Weight Watchers points. And a huge salad, and I was still a little hungry, so I went back for seconds. And that's really what killed me and put it over the 36. Because before I went back for seconds, I had 1 point left. So I think it ended up being like 19 points. But the good news is with Weight Watchers, you get 47 weekly points to use whenever you want, however you want. You can use them as, extras for your week, or you can use them, like, if you're going to have one big, dinner that is going to be more than your daily points, like tonight, where I get 33 points a day and dinner was 36 points. So that's good, and I still have 23 of those left. So I'm doing okay. Okay, so it's a little bit after 10. We just got home, and I wanted to kind of sit down and film story time with you guys so that I can tell you, a little bit about, my backstory and why I'm training to run a 5K, and where I will do, what I'll be doing after the 5K, as well as, just kind of share a little bit of my motivation and, what keeps me going and things like that with you guys, just because, I know I talk about my training a lot over here, but I don't think I've ever told you guys my why. So I guess without sounding too cheesy, my story starts on September 23rd of 2016. There's this thing in Virginia called the Virginia 10 Miler, and you run, it's a 10-mile run, and people from all over the state come, and actually I think a couple people from out of state even come and run it as well. Now, I'd never ran before. There's no way in Hades I'm going to run a 10-mile run. However, as part of the Virginia 10-miler, they have 2 4-mile races. One is a 4-mile run, and the other is a 4-mile walk. Now, Josh and I walk 4 miles all the time like it's nothing. We go to the local parks. We go to the walking trails around our neighborhood, and even in our neighborhood. Sometimes just, we take Chester out. That's kind of an every weekend thing for us, especially in the spring and fall. So my company was paying for it. We hopped on board and we're like, why not? We might as well. I didn't know what to expect. I had never ran or participated in any kind of professional race before. What I've heard from people who do them all the time, this is a really unique environment. From that day, I guess we fell in love with the community portion of these types of events. And the Virginia 4-miler and 10 miler is particularly great at this. They have live bands on the course throughout the entire 10-mile track. They have volunteers that are just full of energy, and they're rooting for you and they're cheering for you, and there's just there's something so genuine about it. My favorite part of the race, though, is the 4-milers went from point A to point B, and then the 10-milers went from point A in a big circle and looped around and came back to point A. So as we're walking, the walkers are the last people to go. We're walking, doing a little 4-mile thing. The 10-milers are running back, and we get to cheer for them and root for them. So not only do they have the volunteers cheering for them, but they have the 4-milers cheering for them as well. And there are even a couple of 10-milers that were cheering for some of the 4-mile walkers. And it's yeah, you're doing it. You're getting out there. This is the first step. This is so awesome. And it was just a sense of community that you don't really get to be a part of very often. So right off the bat, Josh and I are well, we're doing this every year now. Enough said. This is what we're doing. And I think maybe it was somewhere up the hill for the last mile. We were talking this is really easy. Next year we should be able to run this. The 4 miles, not the 10 miles. Next year we should be able to run 4 miles. I was yeah, we should. And then, so from point B, you get on a shuttle that takes you back to point A, where you started. And we're on the shuttle, and I was after we run the 4-miler, it wouldn't be that hard to just run the 10-miler. And then we could do it 4-mile walk, 4-mile run, 10-mile run. That would be really cool to have all 3 of those bibs, side by side, and be able to say that we did that. So that's our goal for 2016, 2017. So our goal for this year is to run it. And then our goal for next year is to run the 10 miles. While we were still at the finish line, before we left, we were just kind of walking around, getting our free banana, which is pretty standard at these kinds of things, I'm finding out. We walked past a tent for a 5K that was going to be November 4th. So a little over a month after. And at this time, I didn't know how long a 5K was, but I found out it was 3.1 miles, and it was a run and walk. And I was that'll be perfect. I'll start training for a 5K, and then we're almost to the 4-mile run. Awesome. And Josh says, well, there's this cool app you can download called Couch to 5K. So this is how I ended up with the app that I have, which is, it's called 5K Runner, and it's great, and I love it, and I'm not complaining about the app, just a little bit about how they got me. I go to the app store, I search Couch to 5K. It's 99 cents. I'm not cheap. I'll pay 99 cents for an app. Okay. But then I look right under it, and there's one called 5K Runner that looks exactly the same, and I'm kind of comparing, the screenshots of the week's training that's provided in the reviews, and I see that it's exactly the same thing, pretty much, and it's free. And I was well, I'm gonna save myself 99 cents. I'm gonna do that one. It's gonna be great. Until I got a week and a half into training, so 4 runs in, and it says, oh, if you're liking our app, please try the premium version for $1.99. And the premium version is the version that does the rest of the walking. So that's kind of how I got stuck with this app. I'm okay with it. I still love it. Whatever. So November rolls around, and I'm 4 weeks into the 8-week program. So halfway through the training, and we go to the superhero run, which is a run walk. And I just turned my training thing on, and Josh and I did it. We walked, hold on, I can find out what the training was that day. Week 3, day 3. So at that point, and this kind of makes me, I'm really glad I took the time to look this up. This makes me really happy about how far I've come. But at that point, the run that I had to do for my training that day was run for 2 minutes, walk for 2 minutes, run for 3 minutes, and walk for 3 minutes twice, and then run for 2 minutes and walk for 2 minutes one more time. And I did it, and it got us halfway through the 5K, because there's also a 5-minute warm-up and a 5-minute cool down. So I looked at Josh, he looked at me and I was like, you know what I think? We're halfway through. And, adrenaline's pumping because we're in a competitive setting. And this 5K wasn't as great as the Virginia 4 miler. There were no live bands on the course, and there weren't that many volunteers, but there were a few that were cheering us on and really motivating us. And they had threw like crepe paper and all the trees and stuff on the trail, and there were a lot of kids there because of the cause that the 5K was for, and everyone was in costume. It was a great atmosphere, so adrenaline was pumping. And I looked at Josh and I said, you know what, I bet we can do, in addition to week 3, day 3, let's just start week 4, day 1. He goes, okay, let's do it. And that day I left, I was feeling like I was super pumped, super excited. Like, this is definitely, like, we're on the right track. Like, I'm so proud of how far I've come. All of this stuff. Get home. We walked Chester. And my foot started hurting. The more I walked on it, the more it started hurting. So I did some research, and I think it was my Achilles tendon. I never went to a doctor, so it's not official or anything. But it hurt for like a week straight. So I think we might have overtrained that day, or I mean, Josh didn't have any problems, so I might have overtrained that day and pushed myself too hard. I kind of stopped. Like, I stopped that week, and of course that's November. Then Thanksgiving happened. Then Christmas happened. And I just stopped running for like a month. Then towards the end of December, I started running again. I started filming it and sharing with you guys on January 1st. Kind of been my running story thus far. You're caught up on everything. I hope you liked story time. So I will say, as someone who used to have such a strong, like, negative, like, repulsive attitude towards running, no one is more surprised that I'm doing this than I am. But it's literally, like, if you don't like to exercise and if you don't like to run, follow me on this one. But you like to set goals for yourself and, like, you're a very goal-oriented person, running is by far the easiest exercise I've ever found, like, that works so well with my mentality. And that's just because, and I kind of already dug into this a little bit, like, I started off week 1, day 1, with the hardest run of my life. And I ran for 1 minute and walked for 1.5 minutes 6 times. And that was the hardest run in my life. And I did it. And I felt great. And that feeling is what motivated me to go on to week 1, day 2, where I ran for 1 minute and walked for 1.5 minutes 8 times. That was the hardest run I ever done in my life. And after I accomplished it, I felt great. And that is what motivated me to go on to week 1, day 3, where I did the exact same thing, only this time it was easy. Like, what? I've never ran before, and I just ran for 8 minutes, and it was like the easiest thing ever. Are you kidding me? And then I went on to week 2, where I ran for 1.5 minutes. Oh my God. I freaked out, like, got all up in my head about it, and walked for 2 minutes 4 times, and then ran for 1 minute and walked for 1 minute twice after that. And I was like, after I did that, again, it was the hardest thing I had ever done, like the hardest run I had ever ran, and the hardest, like, exercise I had ever done. But I was able to do it, and I felt great. So without being too repetitive, we get to week 6, day 1. Have to run for 10 minutes? Are you kidding me? Then walk for 5 minutes and run for 10 minutes again? Like, that was the hardest run I had ever had to do. And I was doing it outside, and there was hills. And I was like, why? Why do I have to run up this damn hill? I don't like it. But I did it, and I felt great. And it's like, this is really dramatic. A really dramatic way of putting this. But it's like, every other day, I climb Mount Everest. It's like the hardest thing in the world to me. But I do it. And then the next day, the next run or whatever, it gets harder, but it's easier somehow. And it's, what? And it's not until like I sat down and like told you guys, you know, what my training was the day of the 5K to like, I guess I'm just making this connection a little bit, like how far I've come. I didn't really realize that it started out so easily. Like, I guess I didn't remember that it started off so easy. Like, I would kill for tomorrow's run to be run for 1 minute, then walk for 1.5 minutes 6 times. Like, if that was tomorrow's run, I would be so happy, but I would probably quit very soon after. It's more than addicting. It's like self-motivating, and it's really easy to get it, kind of go down that trail. That's why I love it. That's why I'm doing it. And now you know. Okay, so it is 11:30. We just got back from walking the dog, and I just wanted to give you a quick recap and end the vlog here. So today wasn't my best day fitness-wise, but according to Fitbit, I did do 10,500 steps. Worked out for 85 minutes, which Fitbit counts Chester's walks as workouts, even though I don't really count it, but there. And then I worked out 7 days this week, which means I was active for more than 20 minutes at a time. That's how Fitbit justifies something as exercise. So excellent there. And then Weight Watchers wise, I went over my daily points. I used 50 points today. I get 33 points a day, and 36 of those points were used at dinner. So there's that. I wouldn't have gone over too much if I had planned a little bit better and not had a bagel and cream cheese for breakfast on the same day that I had tons of spaghetti. But frankly, it was worth it. I have 21 points remaining. Again, not my best day health-wise, but yesterday was a little over the top, so I'm not mad at myself. I'm not beating myself up over it. I still got in my steps, and I still got in 85 minutes of exercise. So I'm good. I feel solid about today. Not as good as I did yesterday and Thursday, but solid. Also, on another note, congrats to him. He lost 10 pounds as of yesterday. So yay, Josh. That's it. Have a good one. See you tomorrow. Tomorrow we go back to work.